All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Kakushigoto, episode 10.
Episode 10.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're getting
we're coming
closer to the
really
end.
Close. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and last episode was really fun and sweet and wholesome and nothing bad happened.
Well, like last episode was one of the best episodes. Like, it was so funny in having this party that had been, like, this big deal that all the editors, or the assistants, sorry, had been up there. They're not editors, like...
Yes, indeed.
Worst boy.
Right, but they were helping out. They were very much looking forward to it, and then of course it didn't happen, and antics and hijinks ensued.
So much.
Yep,
so much.
And Kakushi, the fact that she doesn't know you're a manga writer right now is, well, it's impressive.
Yeah. But the idea that they then got to have that little bit of sweet time together at the end, even though all the party, he's basically like having to run around and do all this other stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
But
we
got that bit at the end.
That bit at the end.
Manga artists who disappeared, and his name was mentioned.
Yeah, and we kind of knew that this is where it was going, but having it so on the nose confirmed that at the very least he stopped publishing his manga.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what's implied, so it is kept vague in that we don't know if he just stopped publishing because, you know...
Yeah.
What other reason could it be?
But apparently him disappearing is a lie.
Yes.
So...
Exactly.
Oh, no.
So
I'm just huffing the copium over here.
Yeah. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
This is curious.
Yeah.
So the end bit for the present day seemed to hint that Kakushi might be alive.
Right.
But everything else has been hinting at the fact that maybe that he might be dead. But now this is showing more along the lines of showing how he quit being a mangaka.
Right, and sort of the mangaka Kakushi died, right?
Right, right. But maybe that's kind of the thing here, is that this has been a build-up towards the end of Kakushi specifically. But if that's the case, then why is Hime alone?
Right.
Why is all this stuff being like given to her in like an inheritance kind of way?
What I'm thinking maybe as like a justification for Kakushi the person being alive, but all of this stuff happening, is that a part of him died with him when he stopped drawing manga, right?
Okay.
And that if the reason for that is because, like, you know, a bunch of personal stuff about his dead wife and everything got brought up to the surface and things like that, suddenly,
literally,
then maybe he feels like...
Well, they already said what was the reason emotionally as to why he quit there. I'm just wondering how that stuff even gets brought up in the context of this. Like, is it just literally a random thing of, oh, okay, we literally brought up, like, because it looked like there was a thing about water, and it was like crash and stuff in the water.
Right, so now we know how the mom died, which is good to know. It wasn't some sickness or something like that. It was an accident. And then
some kind of an accident.
Right,
with,
and then
helicopter. Keep going.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
But what I'm guessing it might be is that is that Kakushi changes once Lost at Sea. Okay. Gotcha.
So Lost at Sea. Now we don't know if that's the helicopter that was missing, or if it was a boat.
Yeah, the helicopter might be the thing that's like
search and rescue.
Part of the search. Yeah, but you know, readers can't separate the artist from their work, so they're like, oh, this tragic thing happened to this gag artist.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it gets weird, right?
Yeah. He said that truth was he couldn't draw anymore because he thought that he couldn't make people laugh anymore.
Right.
Now, I could see someone dying from basically, like, you know, a form of depression, and then they end up ending their own life. But this guy has a daughter.
Right, exactly.
So I don't think that would be something that would cause him to want to end his life. But I could see him maybe giving up on a bit of his passion for life, and thus maybe Hime doesn't live with him anymore.
Well, or at the very least, this could be something where, like, her not, like, it could be something where it's just the, oh, this thing that I didn't know about that was so important to my dad, but then all of a sudden, you know, he comes home one day and it's like, oh, he lost his job, right? You know, lost his job. Then it's something where it's I'm going to connect with that thing that he used to have and used to love. And then it's somber maybe because it wasn't shared with her. And for the assistants and everything, it's somber for them because, you know, they don't get to work with him anymore, and they totally understand why, but it's, you know, it's a painful subject and all of that. And so, you know, there's still that death essentially that has happened, possibly, even if he's still alive. But that's the only explanation I can think of.
Yeah, but then the episode as a whole was rather goofy, really kind of silly episode, not super serious at parts until maybe the stuff with the ghost and everything regarding the fact that, you know, Hime has to deal with the fact that her mom's gone, and has certain thoughts and feelings surrounding that you can see coming up to the surface in these like curious ways when subject matter that could revolve around death is brought up. So that's its own thing.
Right.
The fake out scare of Kakushi dying, though, this episode seems like it could be hinting at the fact that Kakushi is actually alive, and this has all been just some gag of like, you thought Kakushi was gonna die? Why, you're so morbid and...
Exactly. I'm not gonna do that to these characters. I'm not gonna have Hime lose both her parents, you know?
Yeah.
Right. But the idea that, hey, but there is something that happened.
Right, and that's where this episode feels like it could be a little bit of a sarcastic bit of foreshadowing of like, haha, look at all these red herrings that I've been throwing your way.
Right.
He's not the ghost. But he,
exactly.
You know, but people assume he's the ghost. And people assume he's gonna die.
One thing that I do think is good to bring up is that since we know that he also drew that other manga that was about the family of three,
the
right?
mundane life,
right? The mundane life and everything. That means that he still can totally draw. The passion for that has not been destroyed,
right?
But the expression in a professional setting with his current brand basically of being the gag artist,
gag manga artist,
it's and like I could totally see that because
it's a midlife crisis, totally.
Well, midlife crisis, but also the idea that if suddenly all these sensitive details that you aren't even necessarily willing to face yourself get then thrown out to the public, right? And this thing that you've always loved to do of doing gag manga and everything, but also probably, I'm guessing, was a way of coping, dealing with the pain of everything that had happened.
Sure.
All of a sudden now then it's thrown out there, and then it's like, well, I don't know if I can still do that. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
We now know also from Hime's perspective a little bit of what went down literally in that moment when he quit. Which is kind of cool because now we know a little bit of context surrounding
like her perspective, or
but her perspective, but around the closest we have been, like we jumped ahead in time to go back in time,
right?
So it's something that is the closest thing we have to the current past story that's being linearly progressed to, and then the present day that we keep jumping ahead to. We now have something in between that we have real hard facts on from the perspective of Hime, which is really curious. It makes me think that in the next episode we're getting like almost the full package story of what actually went down,
right?
And where Kakushi or how Kakushi is doing.
Yeah, because I feel like this episode, on the one hand, it felt a bit light compared to some of the other ones, and not like lighthearted. I mean, it was lighthearted too. But like as far as the
content,
the emotional dick punch that this show has gotten really good at mastering, like each episode.
Sure.
And I wonder if what it really is it's showing how fragile Kakushi is as a person.
Oh, okay.
Because
I
because
that.
Like the whole thing of like Hime being way more responsible than him, you know, and then like
his sickness.
Right, his sickness, you know, the fact that that it was like he's always been neurotic when it comes to like his work and everything, but apparently a much, you know, it'd be dismissive to call it just neuroticism, but a form of his emotional fragility with regards to his work was the thing that caused him to stop working.
Right.
And then we also have the situation where then he gets kind of surrounded, attacked by all of the people at the inn, tell your secrets, which very much feels like a parallel to the fact that all his fans kind of ended up probably being sort of like that when his private life gets revealed to them, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And like, yeah, so
that's interesting, yeah. But oh man, the goofiness was really there, but once we started moving kind of towards the whole thing with the secrets and them all like be, you know, please reveal your secrets and stuff.
It still felt like a gag comedy bit.
It still felt like a gag comedy bit, but there were aspects of the secrets that almost felt like they could have applied indirectly to Kakushi.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, wait, I wonder if some of these are like 1 degree off from being something that's a literal secret for him.
Well, and some of them, it's like anywhere from like innocuous things to like obvious things that's like, no shit, you're keeping a secret and that's a secret, right? Anyone would be able to see that. And a lot of the stuff that he does with Hime is so over the top, right? That the only reason she hasn't clued into the fact of what's going on is because he's been doing this her entire life. So it's kind of normal for her probably. But like, yeah.
Okay. The prayers thing though.
That was great.
I really loved that.
Crab. I'm sorry. I have done a bad thing.
Law of attraction.
Right.
Wait, we win the thing that was for Crab. Wait.
Yep.
What?
Marriage. Yep.
Yeah, marriage. I really love it, but I feel like that one is too visually striking to be not used later.
Well, and also, if you think about it, it's like he talked about it like a curse, right? And there's the gag, you know, that he's kind of aware of, you know, or no, he's not necessarily aware of it. No, that these girls all like him.
I mean,
maybe he is. You know, who knows, right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
But all of a sudden, marriage. Oh yeah, I was once married. Yep. Oh, and there's just papers just with it just everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, that also kind of fits into the whole thing of like the public getting into his personal life and then constantly reminding him of it potentially.
Him out and he shuts down or something, or he gets sick and dies or something. It's just
right.
Oh, yeah. This was a crazy tail end of the episode build up for the present day stuff.
Yep.
And yet I need answers.
Right, me too.
Because I feel like this episode gave me a little bit of hope in that he could be alive.
Right.
But it also
it's not as bad as it could get.
Potentially on the rocks in terms of it being a happy ending because of what it would be then if he was alive. It would not be a happy sort of thing. However, it still could be like a 2% chance that he's just writing it for himself. He's drawing it all for himself. It's entirely just his own thing.
And to an extent, we know that that's kind of the case, right? He still drew manga, outside of the professional side of things, but
but that could be any amount of time that took there, and
exactly
all it could have been was just 1 or 2 chapters,
right? Because there's the side of me that's like, wait a minute, is it going to be something in a way almost more painful than him dying? In that
it could be.
Hime has to see her father die in a way, right? But he's still around.
I can't, man. Last probable little thing is it's something that happened kind of towards the end after the ghost thing, but it's when she's like, hey, everyone who died must be a ghost. There must be a lot. She's like, yeah, it's probably why they're invisible and you can just go right through them. There must be a reason why we can't touch them.
Because she wishes she could touch the ghost of her mother.
Yeah, but there's something that I just thought about there with the idea of someone being dead but still around and you can't touch them or see them. Is that maybe that's kind of what Kakushi experiences, is that he goes through a little bit of an unmaking and he intentionally separates himself so as not to drag her down.
God.
But the way you have the happy ending is him kind of realizing in the present day that he needs to go back to her.
Right. The ghost of a famous bungo appears at an inn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think they might have been foreshadowing for a while is, if you remember, there was a thing way back when where they were talking about how mangaka sometimes go off to like remote places to write or draw or something.
Oh, uh-huh.
But then they end up just getting depressed and coming back, or they end up just losing their way or something like that. That could be what he did. And he just needed a big break from it all.
Mm-hmm.
And he started drawing this mundane life stuff so that he could process the whole thing. But then he comes back, and it's just whether or not he's, healed from the process of that.
Like, there is an element of this where
ways this could go.
Where I don't want to think about this too much because I just want to not fret over it and just see what the show ends up doing.
Yep.
And then it'll hurt or it'll be happy or both or whatever, and then that'll be that. But
oh man.
Yeah.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.